Hail, hail, Michigan. Welcome to Inside the Game here on the National Soccer Network and Sports Nation PMG. It is that show, episode 265. You can wear your yellow because guess what? It doesn't turn into a brick wall. I can't wear mine because mine turns into my green screen. However, just know I got my jammies on and they are block M. Down in the lower half. So I did wear my Michigan stuff today. I got my USA up here. But yeah, 37
USA
years
on too.
of
Okay, I didn't think
USA on too.
I didn't think
I'm
you
feeling
would.
patriotic after my college basketball team won the championship.
Yeah,
But no, it oh man,
thought it'd be a Soviet Union jersey.
Oh, no, not quite. Actually, I was planning on a UConn jersey this morning. I thought maybe I'd surprise you with that one.
I
So,
got
you know,
you.
I mean, just I feel like it's fitting, you know, if we're continuing along the trend of wearing the losing team's colors on your chest, then maybe that's the way I should go. But now, all respect in the world of the Huskies, but man, oh man, I know our number one is our soccer conversation, but ain't no way we can start the show without first talking about that because I know we're going to mention it later on, and we got a lot of different storylines and things we want to get to. But I wanted to actually start off the show today with my my esteemed broadcast partner and someone that I'm going to be seeing later on tonight. It's the start of the home portion of the 26 regular season for the West Michigan Whitecaps. And my broadcast partner, Dan Hasty, actually sent this to me a little bit earlier. He goes, Friday, Christ died. Saturday, yesterday, Christ rose from the dead. And tonight at midnight, Christ has entered the transfer portal. And
That's true.
That's true. That is the most true indication of where we are. So this Michigan team is going to look brand new coming up next year. They looked brand new this year. But you know what? The only thing that matters, despite where the state of college athletics is and where things are changing, listen, we're all playing the same game. And so when we're all playing the same game, it feels nice to see Michigan get into it and accept it for what it is. And since the turn of the century, man, I mean, there have been a couple of pillars that we needed to see fall. Number one, we needed to see football get that next championship. Like living off of a split title in 97 when that's your last title since colored television doesn't necessarily work if you want to claim to be a powerhouse, you know, so they needed to do that, you know, in basketball. Can't claim to be one of the best programs. They've always been very good. They've always historically been a very good program, but you know, the Fab Five curse was real, you know, and so they needed to get over. Now we just need hockey to get over. But it just feels like, and I know I wasn't alive for all 37 years, but it really does feel like that weight has finally been lifted because all of us have seen them go to a national title and not win it. And so that just, it felt like a release yesterday. The best kind, too.
Yeah, I think the last couple of years, I mean, not only the basketball program, I mean, Dusty May has now raised 4 banners in 2 years. That's right, 4 banners in 2 years. Big Ten tournament. He's won everything that he could possibly win in 2 years already with Michigan. A Big Ten tournament, a Big Ten regular season, and made a Final Four in a national championship. This guy's just going to retire at this point. I think that's what he's going to do. But I'm just kidding. And then you go back to the football kind of relevance back in 2021, and then ever since COVID just stopped. I shouldn't say COVID hasn't stopped, but ever since COVID, it's kind of just, you know, been like a sidebar for everyone. Michigan athletics has been like this. You know, you get the 3 college football playoff appearances, which, by the way, the only reason Michigan won last night is because they played it in Indy. Like, that is Michigan's second home. Think of 3 Big Ten titles. You have a national championship. You have a Final Four win against the statistically, like, the greatest team of all time. Which, by the way, statistically speaking, Michigan is the second best team of all time, statistically speaking. But if I look at it, it's ever since 2020, something happened. You can blame Connor Stallions for being like this, for being a low-level staffer, not even a coordinator, not even a head coach, to piss off like the 2 massive fan bases still blows my mind. But since 2020, you have 3 college football playoff appearances, 1 Rose Bowl win, 1 national championship, 3 Big Ten championships, 4 victories over the Ohio State Buckeyes. You do have a Big Ten championship under Juwan Howard. Weird how that happens. Just saying. That's weird in its own self. You've seen Juwan punch a guy. You've seen the worst basketball team of all time go 8-24. Did it for Kobe that year. That's the sole reason. And then you have Dusty May, who shows up, stands on the logo. Don't forget the women's gymnastics team has a national championship. Now, don't forget about them. And then all of a sudden you have a Big Ten tournament title in there. Then you have a Final Four. Then you have a national championship, and then a Big Ten championship. And we're only in 6 years into this decade. And the hockey team might win one. They're in the Frozen Four right now.
Yep.
I don't know what it is that happened after 2020. I know what it is. It's called NIL and called transfer portal. All of a sudden, the playing field is even for everyone now. But no, it is the 20s is the year or is the decade of the Wolverine. And we've seen three national titles if you count the women's gymnastics team. And no, it's wonderful. I'm loving life. And my MSU fans or friends are so pissed, and I love it.
Yeah, I mean, in Michigan has always been a standard of excellence. I feel like in a lot of ways, and even before NIL, like they were get good guys coming in, good recruits and everything, and they were going to put winning teams together. But again, when you opened up the floodgates the way that the NCAA did with saying, hey, listen, you can utilize all your resources, you can pool your money, you can have your donors. It's like the University of Michigan was like, cool. Okay, you're just going to allow us unload our entire arsenal, and we're going to do that. Now, we'll get into it more a little bit later on. I did want to talk about Dusty May and just, the his comparisons to Kurt Signetti, and I've seen a lot of stuff flying around about how you can't compare the two, how it's, bought, not developed. Listen, this is the reality of where the game is now, but I don't think you can say he's a bad coach. I think UConn made it ugly yesterday. But for this team to still win, even in the fashion that they won, I swear there were like 3 or 4 separate times I looked up. I'm like, I can't believe we're in the lead in this game. Even if it was just by 1 point, like it was still hard to believe. But yeah, really nice battle last night. Let's get into the other parts of our conversation, though. Did want to mention this very quickly. Ryan, you did mention this coming in. Cade Cunningham planning on being back at the end of the regular season. Obviously, the Pistons locking up the 1 seed in the East.
Did you know? I know I already told you this, but for our listeners out there, did you know the last time the Wolverines basketball team won a national championship, the Bad Boys won their first NBA championship. So I'm just saying something might happen. Something might happen.
They proved they can win without Cade, and now he's back, and now we're in the 1. So I mean, that's I mean, things are looking good. I know we didn't get the chance to really talk about them, and I know we haven't talked about the Wings at all, not that we need to, but we didn't really get the chance to chat at all about them because we were busy with soccer conversation and obviously Final Four national championship. So we'll talk more about that as we get into it here later on in the show. I do want to do a mailbag segment here in hour number 1 because I feel like we have just been getting flooded with comments. But let's hold on to that. Let's hold on to that. That's what I'm saying. Let's hold on to that for a future segment. So maybe we can dig through and find some doozies in the comment section. But opening things up here in the soccer portion, do you want to go ahead and break down what the Champions League quarterfinals preview is going to look like? I know we wanted to chat about that a little bit here today in hour number 1.
Yeah. 1 second. Yeah, though my teams hate me sometimes. I gotta lock back into the chat. I thought I had to like the weekend to lock back in on this Arsenal team, but they actually play today. So yeah, this is the quarterfinals. For some reason, I couldn't bring the actual bracket into the broadcast today. So my apologies, but yeah, this is what the quarterfinals currently looks like. We have, like I said, back in, when was this? February? Around Valentine's Day, I said Arsenal got a lucky draw in the Champions League, and they took care of business in the first round against Bayer Leverkusen. Sporting Lisbon, which is Gyökeres's old team, which, by the way, I hate you, Victor Gyökeres. You knocked out Poland in the World Cup qualifiers last week. I don't even like you anymore. I take back everything I've ever said about you. But by the way, please score a goal today. That'd be nice. But yeah, could we get one of these? That'd be nice. Anyway,
just one.
They need to get through. They've been playing poorly recently. I still think they'll get through. I mean, Sporting had that incredible comeback against Bodo in the round prior, but I look at these other 3 matchups, and this is gonna be really fun. Maybe not necessarily PSG Liverpool, because I think PSG will eventually run away with this thing, but Real Madrid, Bayern Munich. It's going to be a really good one. Harry Kane and Bob. By the way, Bayern Munich was down 2-0 in the 82nd minute the other day, and they won 3-2.
Yeah, I saw that.
Gosh. And then
yeah,
I think the most intriguing matchup of it all is Barcelona-Atletico Madrid, which, if you go back, I think a month ago, Atletico knocked out Barcelona in the Copa del Rey. And that was Atletico put BTA in the first leg, and then in the second leg, all of a sudden Barcelona comes storming back.
That's a fun little rivalry there, especially in recent matchups too, with the way those two have been playing against each other in recent form. That's a fun little matchup for the quarters.
Yeah, the only issue is like Atletico is kind of like Atletico Madrid and La Liga is like Penn State. That's what they are.
Yeah,
like,
right. Yeah,
Barcelona, Real Madrid are traditionally is the Michigan, Ohio State. Atletico is the Penn State. Obviously, college football is changing as it is anyway, so maybe you could throw an Indiana, Oregon in there, whatever. But traditionally speaking, Atletico is kind of that team that is they're always there, but they never win anything. I know they won a league back in 2020 with Luis Suarez, which crazy to think that he went from Barcelona to Atletico in the first place, but that might have also been the money restrictions Barcelona had. Yeah. But no, I look at that matchup, and that's going to be amazing to watch. Bayern, Real Madrid, I still think is going to be a really good matchup. It's you think of Bayern Munich, who I think finished second in the group or third in the group like table phase, I guess you should call it, in the Champions League. And then you have Real Madrid, who is kind of all over the place in terms of like everything that has gone on at the club this year. You have Arbeloa stepping in, Xabi Alonso flamed out. You have the whole Vinny Jr. Prestini thing with Benfica, and you have all the different sidebars with this whole Real Madrid team. Yet they just continue to find ways to win. I get it; they have a bunch of stars on their team, Mbappe, Vinny Jr., but they just found a way against Man City to get through. And Bayern Munich in the Champions League, they've been really, really good this year. I mentioned that they were, I think their only loss in the Champions League was to Arsenal back in right around Thanksgiving time. So it's going to be a very good matchup. I look at really all 3 out of the 4 matchups I think are going to be really, really good. I think the whole Arsenal Sporting Lisbon thing, that might not be the best one in terms of maybe Arsenal blows them out in just terms of the quality. But Bayern, Real Madrid, that's going to be great. PSG, Liverpool is going to be fantastic. Barcelona, Atletico is going to be fantastic. I think just looking at the first legs, I'm going to go, so Arsenal's away, Bayern's away, Atletico's away, Liverpool's away. I'm just going to give quick score predictions. I got them all wrong last time, so hopefully it's better this time. But I'm going to go Arsenal's going to win. Arsenal's going to win 2-1, and then PSG is going to beat Liverpool. Actually, no, they're going to tie. They're going to tie 1-1. Bayern Munich is going to... Real Madrid's going to win it 2-0. And Atletico Barcelona are going to go 0-0 tie. So that's what I'm going to go. That's what I'm going to go with my predictions. I'm probably going to be wrong, but it's okay.
You know who the best player on the planet is right now?
Axel Lenneborg?
Close. That was a good guess. Kylian Mbappe. Kylian Mbappe.
Being misdiagnosed.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
And
that's
AI
true.
Isn't affecting the Real Madrid staff, which still makes no sense.
Actually,
why they use AI to manage everyone's injuries. You guys are.
You're
the biggest club in the world, yet we're using AI to diagnose our injuries. Even Michigan didn't even use AI to diagnose Axel Lenneborg's injury.
Yeah, well, Michigan's one of the best medical schools in the world. I certainly hope they wouldn't use ChatGPT.
Real Madrid's got the most money in the world.
Is fair. I guess money doesn't buy you everything per se. It could buy you good doctors. I actually plugged it into ChatGPT, asking me to give me an idea who might win in this matchup. I'm not gonna believe it, obviously, because we know how it goes when you believe in ChatGPT. But anyways, no, Kylian Mbappe. He's the best player on the planet right now, man. So all I'm saying is I'd be scared to go toe-to-toe with that guy. And it makes me scared to think about what France is going to look like in the World Cup. Hopefully that quote-unquote misdiagnosis doesn't come back to bite them. But I like Madrid getting to the final. I would love to see Madrid and Arsenal in the Champions League final. I think that would be a riot to watch. I don't know if you would. You'd probably be a little uneasy. You in the stressful moments, man. Every one of your teams, every other day is a new event, a new something else going on. I'm able to relax a little bit now. You, on the other hand, is not. It's just going to be constant stress all summer long. So I hope you're ready for that. That's all I got to say.
So here's what I would say. There's 3 teams that truly stress me out, and that is Arsenal, Michigan football, Michigan basketball. 2 of them are done, and now it's just Arsenal to the end of the season. But like the Lions don't really stress me out. I don't think a ton, just because like my entire life
the expectations are right.
Like
the expectations
obviously
are
we get into
high.
the playoffs, big moments. Yeah, that's a little bit stressful. But like the Tigers don't stress me out because I still don't think we win. Like it also depends on expectations. When I expect you to win something massive, I get a little bit more stressed out. Like I don't expect the Tigers to win a World Series in it at all. So I'm not super stressed about it. The Pistons, I still don't think we even make the finals, so I'm not stressed about them. The Red Wings, they're just dumb. So I don't get stressed out about that. So I did go into ChatGPT and I said, predict who advances the. I said just predict, and this can't be right. Okay, ChatGPT's dumb because they got the first 2. They got the first.
Is it the free version or you got the Pro Max version?
Whatever the company has, but they got 2 of the matchups wrong. They got PSG versus Barcelona, and then they got Man City versus Inter Milan. 2 of those teams aren't even in it anymore.
I know. Inter Milan's not even in the conversation.
So it has Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, and it says prediction: Real Madrid advances. Madrid's knockout experience is unmatched. Players like Jude and Vinny Jr. are clutch in big games. Bayern are dangerous, but less consistent defensively. See, that's just ChatGPT in a nutshell. They do say Real Madrid advance in aggregate. Arsenal Sporting, they say Arsenal's midfield control with Odegaard and Rice is huge. Sporting is strong, but slightly less experienced. Arsenal wins. Like, ChatGPT, man, don't trust it. Like, if you're out there in listener land, please do not trust ChatGPT. It is the dumbest thing out there. It is not always right. And if you're one of those people who relies on I forget what the guy was, but he like was wanted to sue ChatGPT because he was tricked into thinking that he could do something that he couldn't do because he was asking ChatGPT. It was like to run a business or something. He got tricked into believing he could run a business or something, and it failed miserably. And then he like sued ChatGPT because he got tricked by. I forget what exactly it was, but don't listen to it. Bottom line, do not listen to ChatGPT. It is one of the dumbest things out there. Until it becomes truly smart, we can rely on it. I've used it before in certain aspects, but I do not rely. Like, if I do broadcasting notes, I used to just, let's type in, just give me notes. I remember I did it for Eastern Michigan, Central Michigan women's basketball last year. My first ESPN, or my second ESPN broadcast, fun fact. And I was like, let me see if this, because my friends look, why don't you just use ChatGPT to do all your notes? I'm like, because I don't trust it. And I go, let's just see what it does.
Yep.
And it got like 75% of it right. And I'm like, okay, so it's not fully right. And now I put it in for the Champions League, and it's like, we don't even have 2 of the teams. We don't even have 2 of the matchups right. 2 of the teams aren't even in it. Like, what are we doing here, ChatGPT? But I would say, it's your whole Arsenal, Real Madrid making the final thing. So I don't know. I see that's like playing UConn in the national championship. They do nothing but win Champions Leagues. UConn does nothing but win national championships. Like I know that obviously know that Arsenal beat them last year, I think 4-1 on aggregate, because obviously they won 3-0 at the Emirates, and I think they may have won 5-1, 5-2. I don't remember the exact aggregate. But it took us a lot of magic in that game. 2 of the greatest free kicks I think I've ever seen. I'm literally trying to do the news, and I'm freaking out with the 2 Declan Rice. Yeah, okay, there you go. Go do what you got to do, Nate. I don't know what you're looking for, but go do what you got to do.
My chair's stuck. My chair got stuck on my light.
Oh,
we're good.
I thought you
good
were
to go now. No, we're fine.
Sometimes I've seen you dive out of here in a second. I'm like, there goes Nate.
It's just stuck on the floor.
Gotcha. Okay, so no, but it would take a lot of magic to beat that team again. And to think about what happened last year, the greatest free kicks I've ever seen. I'm doing the news and I'm crashing out or I'm freaking out because like those are two of the greatest free kicks I've ever seen. And in a Champions League quarterfinal. But obviously, got to get through Sporting and you got to get through Atlético or Barcelona. So it would take a lot for us to even get to the finals. I like our chances of advancing. I like our chances to get to the final. But we got to win some silverware this year. That's all that matters. I don't care which one it is. Just win something. Champions League or Premier League. Let's win one of the two. I don't care. Win both, great. That even makes me even happier. And then I can have like the greatest spring known to mankind.
Absolutely. You want to dive into a little mailbag on the other side?
Let's talk about Flo Balogun in England. Let's talk about that. Who doesn't like roughing the feathers of the Englishman?
I do like Flo, and I do like roughing the feathers of the Englishman, so let's do it. First, let's tell you about FC Bayern's summer soccer camps. They are a proud sponsor of the National Soccer Network, fostering football excellence across North America. Open to boys and girls of all skill levels, FC Bayern camps deliver elite training inspired by FC Bayern Munich's world-class philosophy. Select your city and start a promising soccer path. And right now, save $30 on registration by using promo code BayernNSN30. Again, that's BayernNSN30, or scan the QR code on your screen. Learn more at FCBayernYouth.com.
So the dream behind Irene's was simply to be a place where the community could come and gather. This is my hometown, we're raising our family here, and we just want to be a space where people can come together as a community and share a great meal. We've got golf simulators, we got pinball, live music, trivia nights, but we also have fresh, always homemade, locally sourced food, and we serve it with a sense of Gemütlichkeit. This is a German word that conveys a sense of warmth and coziness and belonging. We're excited to show off how we're growing and that this is the place to be.
Welcome back to the place to be every morning, 9 to 11 a.m. here on the National
really
Soccer
like that
Network.
Irene's commercial, don't you?
I do it. It's so good. It looks great in there, man. I want one of them Bavarian pretzels. She gives us a softball on our way back from break. But let's get into the conversation. Flo Balogun. Now, listen, we've waxed poetic about this U.S. men's national team. We've talked, individually about some of the individual players we have and what they've done. And one of the things we have mentioned, obviously, are dual nationals and Noah Kai Banks with Germany. But, there are other players on this team, pretty much all of them, that realistically could play elsewhere if they wanted to. Maybe not all of them. But I will say, and we're going to talk about it here today, if Flo Balogun wanted to play for England, pretty good chance he could. He is a dual national. Obviously, he has the ability to go play with the English if he wanted to. And with the way that he has performed in the club portion of this season, it would speak to someone who would be a good option, I feel like, for the English. But you believe he's someone that could start for England?
Well, I just said this because obviously he could have played for England back when he chose to represent the USA instead.
It's true.
But if you were to look, obviously not in 2022, he would not have started. I don't even think he was. Did we sell him by that point yet? I don't think we sold him at that point. Yeah, no, we didn't sell. Arsenal didn't sell him yet. But now I look at the striker options that England has, and you got Harry Kane, you got Dom Solanke, you got Ollie Watkins, and you have Dominic Calvert-Lewin, I think. Yeah, Dominic Calvert-Lewin. And I put Flo Balogun against all four of those guys. Taking him over Ollie Watkins, I think he's the most overrated English striker there is out there. You're taking Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Guy does nothing. He's literally done nothing ever. So I'm taking him over that. Dom Solanke, either he's just on a really bad team, but this guy ain't worth, 55, 60 million. I mean, it could just be the Tottenham factor. But then I look at the big one.
Yeah.
You got to overtake the captain, Harry Kane. And I get it. The dude has scored, I think, like 30 goals this year in the Bundesliga. But notice the emphasis on the but there. If you look at a lot of his games, he has struggled against the big boys in everything. He has struggled against the really good teams. Was a non-factor against Arsenal, a non-factor against PSG, and I mean, I get it, small sample size, but he does nothing in the big games this year for Bayern Munich. Yet we look on the flip side for Flo Balogun, who seems to score time and time again against PSG. That's what he does. Like, Flo Balogun is unbelievable. And this isn't to be like, okay, Flo Balogun is the greatest striker in the world. That has nothing to do with this conversation. I'm just saying, if you were an Englishman and you want to see this team go far in a World Cup, you have obviously in 2022 and 2018, you had your best striker out there in Harry Kane, yet you blew the penalty against France. Just saying. But if you look at Flo Balogun as a player this year, upcoming for 2026, he's better than every option you have. He's better than all of them. He's better than Solanke. He's better than Harry Kane. He's better than Ollie Watkins. And maybe you're like, okay, well, he plays in the French league. Harry Kane plays in the Bundesliga. It's not anything crazy. It's not like it's not like it's night and day between the Bundesliga and in the Ligue 1. There's not that crazy of a difference. PSG is better than Bayern Munich, and he's scoring against PSG, which, mind you, Harry Kane put up this. He put up this against PSG. And I don't even recall him out there for the Arsenal game. He was just out there with a cardio session, basically. That's all Harry Kane was doing. He has not shown up in the big games this year, and he's only delivered against the small teams, whereas Balogun is delivering time and time again for this Monaco side. And none of your options are better than what you got. And at the same time, Balogun, not bad in link up play, not bad in holding up the ball, and I think he fits well better with like the likes of who would have been out there, maybe Saka, Phil Foden, those guys. He fits better. He fits better in those molds than Harry Kane does. And England, you lost him. You lost him 4 years ago, 5 years ago to us, and you're never getting him back. So, which, by the way, if there was a transfer portal in international soccer, man, we would be cooked, because then everyone would show up and be like, man, this team sucks ass. But what I'm saying is Flo Balogun is better than anything England has this year, and I just love that that's the case.
So, looking at the way that the logistics, the technicalities, well, I got to move back from the screen here. Sorry, I was just doing the old guy thing, getting my face close to the screen. Couldn't read it.
Maybe you need some glasses.
This is probably it. We're probably getting to that point. But I was looking this up because I was interested about this conversation. But it says that in May 2023, obviously that's when he completed the switch to go from England to representing the United States men's national team, because obviously he represented England at the youth level for a long time, but then made that switch. But it was a one-time switch with FIFA to represent the U.S., obviously having previously represented England at the youth level. So I don't think he technically can represent England, at least from what I'm
That's why
reading
once you
here.
make a full-time switch,
so that
and
was
you
the
get
whole
cap
point.
tied, you can't switch.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't realize that was the I didn't realize cap tide was a thing. So thank you. I'm learning
Yeah, no.
something
Did
here
you
today. I
were
didn't
you
realize that
worried?
you couldn't
Were you
make.
worried that Flo Balogun was going to maybe go represent England?
I wasn't worried per se. I just didn't know
Yeah,
if this
no.
was something that was like realistic, like that, you know, he could just jump ship and be out of here.
Once you get cap tied in a major tournament, i.e., World Cup, Copa America, a Gold Cup, or a Euros, you're stuck with them for the rest of time. You just it's a one-time switch. This isn't NCAA college football or college basketball where a player can play for 6 different teams in 4 years. No, this is no.
Yep.
Once you make the one-time switch, you're done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so I mean, to that point, no, I think just simply saying that he could start for England, absolutely, you're right. I mean, 10 goals, 4 assists, just over 20 matches now with AS Monaco, and we've seen what Flo has done. And that last goal that we posted up was just sick. I mean, obviously his footwork and his skills and his touch and everything else really kind of lines up and shows you that it is a reassuring feeling. And I think if anything, in those conversations that we had before those windows, we knew who our number one striker was going to be. Like there was a segment there where we were like, might be somebody else, might be, but no, it's always been Flo.
Those people had.
Exactly. But really minus that, you know, we kind of knew that he was our guy the entire way. But no, you're right. And I think, you know, it's when you look at this U.S. men's national team, you think about the different players that could go compete with the other countries that they're dual nationals with. You know, like would you think Dest would stand a chance if he were to play on the Netherlands? I know he's been dealing with injury issues, but at his best, do you think he could be in that 11? I mean, I think about it. You know, I mean, obviously Pulisic, Croatia, like, I don't know how good Croatia is.
He probably would. He would not, because when Pulisic was starting up, he would not have played a ton until right around now. Like around the 2022, like maybe he'd be a starter, maybe a little bit of a bench guy, but he would not have played in 2018. Yeah, no, he wouldn't. Musa wouldn't sniff the field at all for England.
Yeah.
Let's see. Dumfries. Yeah, no, he would not. Yeah, no, Dest would not start at all. Frimpong's better. Dumfries is better. I mean, you're probably starting Van Dijk and Ake in the middle. Yeah, no, he's not. Yeah, no, he would probably make the roster for the Netherlands. But he probably would not play. He'd be and Timber's in there too. I forgot about him. Yeah, no, he wouldn't. Oh God, no. Yeah, no, he wouldn't make. Yeah, he wouldn't make anything.
Right. So, I mean, I think about some of the other like dual nationals that we have. I don't know who else would actually be a significant contributor on the other side of things. But you know, herein lies the issue. We need to figure out a way, you know, because I think Flo Balogun's a good example of someone that keeping him in house and locking him down in 2023 the way that we did, and now realizing the kind of season that he's having, he is peaking at the right time. Now, what does that mean for our national team? I have no idea, because we have found ourselves in this endless cycle, this endless loop, where we get together as an international team. Mauricio Pochettino decides to tinker with things and switch things around. We end up playing like hot garbage. And then these guys go back to the respective clubs. McKennie has another finish and a goal yesterday. Balogun just had another goal recently. Like we just watch what they do with their clubs, and they all get together and they look like they've never played the sport a day in their life. So what it means for the men's national team, I have no idea. We don't have a midfield. Obviously, defensively, we're very porous. And so, you know, there are a lot of things that have to be switched. But if you're going to argue quality individual pieces, Flo's another great example. But Flo has to be, in my mind, the poster child of USA Soccer's focus moving forward to try and somehow convince these guys that this train is moving in the right direction and that they can play here in the U.S. as opposed to choosing anywhere else. Because I think if England, you know, hindsight being 2020, I think if they knew what Flo could turn into, they probably would have pushed a little bit hard to make sure that he didn't make that switch. But 3 years ago, I don't know if anyone necessarily expected him to explode onto the scene, especially the way that he did here in 26. So, you know, I think there's, for me, it just highlights the importance of now for the U.S. men's national team continuing to put your best foot forward and prioritizing the right players, and making sure that you hold on to the ones that down the line are going to end up filling a position need and could really kind of at least help in certain parts of the field. Because I always think about Noah Kai Banks too, and just how much his youth would help in a spot that we desperately needed. And so it feels good it feels absolutely great knowing that one of our players could easily play in a side that I would say is far more competitive going into the World Cup than anything we are. But what does that actually mean for our national team? I don't know, to be completely honest with you, right? Because it feels like it doesn't mean much.
I wouldn't say Flo Balogun would be a poster child for the U.S. men's national team.
No, poster child as in like the example of how to handle dual nationals and
okay.
like holding on to dual
nationals.
Exactly.
There's no way dual national is a poster child for a
no. Yeah.
Like there's a reason why in soccer, baseball included, like everyone will everyone latches on to Kevin McGonigal, Max Clark when he eventually comes up, or Senor when they eventually comes up, because they're one of their own in a way. They're their own, and everyone loves that about sports. Like Michigan fans will probably latch on to Trey McKinney for the rest of time because he's from Michigan. He played at Michigan now, and he knocks down big shots. So there's something with that. And then if you look at soccer, it's the homegrown. It's the academy players. Everyone loves the academy players because, again, it's because they're one of their own. That's why they always say that the chants are he's one of our own. They love that.
Yeah.
And for the international side, yes, dual national is a part. Like that is a new part of. I shouldn't say the new part because it happened all the time, but it's now like the recruiting for dual nationals have really ramped up in the last couple of years because you're starting to see players that will play for massive big nations like in England, like a France, and they spend so much time trying to get into their national team, and by the age of 27, they haven't sniffed anything yet. You could potentially play like Jamaica, what they were doing with Mikel Antonio and Damari Gray, which is like, you guys have Premier League experience and you guys have played week in, week out. I get it. You're not going to make the English team, but don't you want to play international soccer and maybe make a World Cup? Come to Jamaica. Yeah. Like you have a little bit of you could play for us. So that's what they want. And in terms of dual nationals, I think it's the right way of, if you kind of look at Serginho Dest and you look at Flo Balogun as a whole, I think both of those players are the poster childs in terms of the dual national recruitment. I think Serginho Dest a little bit more because he was the first. Musa clearly not because he doesn't play like ever anymore. I think Malik Tillman another good example as well. But no, you've got to identify, and even when they don't even play for your youth teams, you have got to identify these talents because for the USA, it's simple. You have to identify the rejects of. You've got to be Dusty May. You've got to find the rejects of teams, i.e., Cadeau, Merez, and Mara.
The Milwaukee Messi.
Exactly. You've got to go to England. You've got to go to France. You got to go to Argentina and find, okay, who could possibly play for us that is, you could find a way that you're not going to make it to that senior team consistently. However, we kind of suck, so you could play for us right away. Like, that's how they looked to Balogun, and they were like, dude, our strikers suck. Josh Sargent ain't doing nothing. Haji Wright ain't doing nothing. So let's look at a guy like Flo Balogun. And that's what nations like the U.S. have to do, is they have to go to the rejects of the world, of the big nations, Spain, England, France, Argentina, and be like, who could we find that could plug in for our holes on this roster? Like finding a Noah Kai Banks because we need another center back so desperately. So that's what you got to do. And to find depth as well. So, no, recruiting dual nationals is so important, and I'm so glad we have Flo Balogun. And just thinking and looking at the English options, because I love just hating on the English players and the English team. That's what you got to do.
Yeah.
And he's better than them all.
No. And I still think he's going to be the first one to score a goal for us in the World Cup. And like I said,
sure hope so.
It's
a good sign then if he's scoring.
He should be the example for USA soccer moving forward of what it means to hold on to these dual national players and just give them a chance. You know what I mean? Allow them the opportunity to play for the U.S. men's national team and to show their stuff, because unless you have too much pride to do so, which I don't understand how in the situation and in the position that we're in as USA Soccer, there shouldn't be any pride in that way. You should be prideless in the way that you go out and approach these players and be like, hey, listen, I know you got options here, but you can easily go out and produce for us, and we need you to be here. So I think I always like the idea of sticking with our guys, the ones, our ride or dies who have been here the whole time. But it's only gonna take you so far. Yeah, I think of someone like a Tim Ream. Great. It might be someone who in the clubhouse, the locker room is a good leader. He's a good voice. He's all those things, but there are just certain guys that right now that are on the pitch that just don't deserve to be out there. So you can't tell me there's not one dual national or someone else that can go out and fill that spot more effectively. But yeah, like the Milwaukee Messi with Bosnia. It's like, really? Like, he's from Appleton, Wisconsin. Why is he not playing for us?
Exactly.
The hell is going on here? But let's take a break. We'll talk a little bit more about Bosnia and Italy on the other side, get some other things as it pertains to that. We can also talk about mailbag as well. That all comes up next year. Now we're number 1 on Inside the Game.
Experience the thrill of the game like never before with NSN's Game Rewind.
Dive into full match commentaries enhanced with cutting-edge dynamic graphics,
Letting you relive the highs and lows of your favorite matches in astonishing detail.
whether it's a championship win or a legendary play.
NSN Game Rewind bridges the past and future with a broadcast experience designed to captivate.
Call 586-304-4405
And start watching today.
I am from Bosnia. Take me to America. I really want to see. That needs to be our World Cup, the World Cup song. It has to be. I forget Jelly Roll. I'm just saying we're bringing that. That is the World Cup song for 2026. That's what it is. Ryan sent it to me yesterday. I've been playing it on repeat ever since. So no, that is
the Salvatore Ganacci song, like not
Salvatore Ganacci song. Yes, yeah, no, not the chant. I know that Bosnia did a remix to it, but that's got to be it. Everybody's
introduced that song in 2022. I think
I've never heard it.
Really?
Never heard it. I thought it was from Borat at first when I first heard it, but I'm like, Borat's not from Bosnia. It's from whateveristan or whatever, the Kyrgyzstan or whatever. So I'm like, it's not from Borat, but it has Borat vibes to it. So I'm like, that might or might not be, but no, it wasn't. So thanks for, I know you talked about it last week, but it's just so catchy. It has not left my head ever since. But talk a little bit about that matchup. Obviously, we already mentioned Italy's futility. Missed the last 3 World Cup cycles. You mentioned the ball boy, though. Something about the ball boy. Did I miss this?
So there's two things to this whole scandal,
saga,
quote unquote. It's not a scandal. It's more of conspiracies. So if I go back to right before the game, the day before the game, there was a spy scandal, and it says Bosnia has revealed an Italian United Nations spy disguised as a European Union soldier was caught filming their tactical training session just hours before the crucial World Cup playoff. Bosnia's coaching staff spotted the man in a military jacket, which is funny. If you look at the photo, he's literally wearing a military jacket with shorts on, because that's definitely a true trooper. with a phone strapped to his chest, recording drills from a restricted zone. He was immediately kicked out, but the damage may have already been done. Bosnia still have no idea how much footage he captured or whether he was sent directly to the Italian Football Federation. And then Bosnia was like, all right, hold my beer. So there is this 14-year-old ball boy named Vasilij, Vasilj. I don't even know what that is. He is
or
a
something?
youth player from one of the local Bosnian teams from the area. And he says, quote, I saw there was something, this is referring to Donnarumma. He stole the PK cheat sheet for Donnarumma. And so every goalkeeper has whether this is a league game, whether this is a knockout game, whether this is an international game, every goalkeeper has a cheat sheet of where the tendencies. It's kind of like how in baseball, how the outfielders kind of and the infielders, like they all kind of know, they have a card in their back pocket of know where the shifts are and everything.
Pitchers.
So everyone has
scouting
a PK,
report.
has a PK cheat sheet. And he goes, quote, I saw there was something next to the towel and realized immediately what it was. I took it and hit it. This had all the indications on our players, and without that list, Donnarumma would need to go by instinct instead of by stats. So it's not like these players truly study where the PKs are going. Yeah, they might get it mentioned in their briefing like before the game where it's like, okay, let's just look at, if it's a knockout game, let's just look at some PK shootouts. But for the most part, they don't really study it all. They just have the numbers and the tendencies of on which way they go. So this guy was like, all right, I'm stealing this whole thing. And the Bosnian fans want Bosnia, the football team, to take this 14-year-old kid to the World Cup with them and have him be like an equipment guy or on staff because of how well this guy helped Italy or Bosnia beat Italy and get to a World Cup. I think the first one since 2014. And I don't know. I just thought it was a really cool story. I thought it was funny. And yeah, this is how serious people take the sports over there.
Italy. We gotta talk. All right. If you want to do some advanced scouting, if you want to do some sign stealing, if you want to do some cheating, okay, we got to be smarter than strapping a phone to a chest of a guy who is wearing fatigues on top and shorts on bottom. Okay, there has to be something else, some other way.
At least make it look like you're trying to be sneaky.
At least like dress him up in official garb, have him stand maybe somewhere in an area where he's not completely visible. Like I felt like this could have been so well thought out, better thought out than the way that it was. That's all I'm saying. I understand the desperation of wanting to cheat because you haven't made the World Cup in over a decade. Like, I get it, but if you're gonna be about it, at least be smart about it. I always say this, like, even if you're a liar or a deceiver, at least be good at it. Because if you're just sloppy and you're not, then it's like then you're just hurting, you're just messing up everybody's day, including your own. So, Italy, come. And this is the thing. Such a once proud nation too with this sport is not on the downfall. They have fallen. And I think that's the saddest part about it. Like seeing this layer kind of added to the futility of what we have seen out of Italy in the last 3 World Cup cycles really just kind of adds to the desperation of this country and their undying fight to get back to relevance, but on the other side for Bosnia, good for that kid. You got to have some balls as a 14-year-old to kind of to do that for sure. Yeah.
So ball boys are a lot of sneaky tactics. Oh, Nate froze on us. All right, we'll wait for Nate to come back. But it was ball boys are sneaky. They're used in a lot of tactics. Oh, there's Nate. We lost you there for a second. Your eyes were closed, so luckily your eyes were like half open, half closed. But ball boys are very sneaky. They're used in a lot of tactics. Like if a team were to, if they're known for time wasting, they will the manager of if it's a home game, the manager of the team who doesn't like that way will have the ball boys and tell them. Pep Guardiola did this a couple of years ago in the Champions League semis or the quarters, and literally Zoom called the ball boys and was like, here's what I need you guys to do. whenever that ball goes out of bounds, you run up to the Atletico players and hand them the ball so we can get things rolling. They're very sneaky. It's an underrated thing. It's underrated, a game within the game.
Yeah.
But like no one really talks about it. But ball boys can be used to your advantage very well. And they did that, obviously, with Bosnia, and Man City's done it before. And sometimes we have an Eden Hazard moment against Swansea back in like 2013. Now, that is a bad one. But, it's sneaky.
Yeah. I just think it's, it is sneaky, and it's another one of those inside the game, see what I did there, kind of moments where it's like, this is definitely inside soccer. But no, just another fascinating storyline. And again, just kind of adds to just how sad the state of affairs is in Italy right now. And to your point, it kind of like the U.S. when we look at, now obviously different set of circumstances in Italy, that the culture around soccer is not hurting by any stretch of the imagination, but they need to rethink and restructure a lot, if not everything. And it really starts with the youth. Facilities. Obviously, Serie A, as we talked about, more of a selling league than it is a buying league right now. So even your top end league is not where it should be. There's a lot of things that have to be figured out. And even when they try to cheat, they're not good at that part either, right? So it's just, there's just an overwhelming sense of kind of like desperation that is pouring out of Italy right now, and just a sad state of affairs with what they got going on. But you want to dive into mailbag a little bit before we get into all sports?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's get into some of these comments. As always, follow us on social media at National Soccer Network. You can also follow us at Sports Nation PMG. That is sports with a Z, by the way. Ryan obviously posting a lot about the national championship and everything that's going on there, so go catch those
shout
videos.
Out, if anyone's listening now, shout out to anyone who joined the TikTok live yesterday post game. That was a lot of fun. I think I did it at like 12:30 at night after I watched like all the festivities and everything and like the press conferences, and I was like, let's do a Sports Nation TikTok live. I haven't done one before. And it's a lot of fun, gain a couple new followers. Every single time we do a TikTok live, whether it's an NSN TikTok or whether that's Sports Nation, we gain a couple of followers. So shout out to everyone that joins in and follows us right away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, appreciate you. I mean, you guys have been great too, and I know. So just before we get into all this, I know we're not going to have a show the remainder of the week. However, would be nice to maybe hop on live and talk to the people at some point in the following days. But no, you guys keep us coming back for more, and the popularity of our show has been taken off. So we appreciate all you guys and the work that you're doing and helping us get there. But any comments you want to start with? I'm kind of sorting through the sea of comments in front of me, and there's a few that are funny. So this one's from our Landon Donovan video. Liam Powell checking in. Liam, appreciate you. But he goes, our club traveled from Dayton, Ohio to play in a tournament in Arizona. Our first game was against a team from Columbus, 45 minutes from home, in unquote. And so that was kind of what we talked about yesterday with the travel and everything else that's going on in these showcases. It's not that it's not cool to go on these trips, or that the parents don't want to go on these trips and the kids don't want to go see these things. I know that JT talked about, like, one of the things that he loved about the experience of playing travel soccer was going to these places and doing these things. Okay. And I would say that's probably fair, but at the same exact time, at what point does it become, okay, this is parents' vacation time and it's less about actually developing the kids into good players? It's just not necessary in my mind. Now, I don't have kids. I didn't play travel soccer, so I can't really.
It's definitely necessary to go on those tournaments. Those are some of my favorite memories of tournaments.
Fun, that's fun. It's fun, but also, again, adds to how extremely expensive it is.
I can give you a good example. Yeah. So we, for years, my travel soccer team, for years, we strictly went to Cincinnati and Indianapolis. Never played any Michigan teams that I can remember. I think, but here's the thing about you play a team when you travel far away and you play a team that is 45 minutes away. Here's a couple ways, because I'm not a glass half empty guy like Nate, where expectations you set them so low, like you won't get hurt. Here's a couple solutions to this. This might be a league team. This might be a team you play in the league, which I've played in tournaments where we've played league teams. gives you an opportunity to see what a team is like, what their key players are, so you can turn it into a positive that way. But at the same time, you're going somewhere different you haven't been before. So have fun with it. It's See,
no, I mean,
this happens
absolutely.
in AAU all the time too. Happens AAU, happens in travel baseball all the time.
Travel baseball. Yeah.
But I will tell you, we went to Vegas when I was a junior. This was a month before the world went to shit in 2020. And we went because we wanted to go to a tournament so bad that was not Indianapolis or Cincinnati or Columbus or whatever it was, or Pontiac, Michigan at the Ultimate Soccer Complex. But it was so much fun going to Vegas. Like the memories I had with all those guys. We played teams from Utah, Nevada, Oregon, Washington. Like it was so much fun. We played really good competition. I saw Sean Bradley. I played against his kid. Really? Sean Bradley. Yeah, I have a video. I gotta go deep in the archive to find that thing. But February 2020, I'll have to go far into that. But no, I played against his son. But like that was some of the best teams I've ever played. So yes, there is a positive for this, but sometimes the clubs in your area too, they're looking to do the same tournaments. So it's an interesting topic to talk about, but not all. If you play a whole tournament against people from your area, then there's an issue. But if you play one team in a tournament from your area, who really cares?
Yeah. From the same video, Decobe28, you are wrong. Stop, please. Please stop putting this rhetoric out there. Stop lying to people who don't understand. Stop.
Is he referring to you, or is he referring to Landon
I guess
Donovan?
He's referring, I don't know. I have no idea. I mean, knowing that people only typically watch videos until like 10 seconds in, he's probably talking about Landon Donovan. But, I mean, come on, guys. Like, come on. Like, we can admit that there's some problems. Come on, guys. We can admit that stuff's too expensive. Come on, guys. We can admit no one can afford shit in this country anymore. Stop watching the world spin round with your rose-colored goddamn glasses. Wake the hell up. No one can afford shit. You're going to sit here and tell me that we're in a grid, but nothing's wrong. Nothing's wrong with USA Soccer at all.
That escalated quickly.
That gets me fired up, man. Stop. I understand. Okay, Ryan, you are 100% right, dude. You are 100% right. And you know what? I appreciate you, because at 22 years old, it's not easy to live life like happy and optimistic about everything. You know what I mean? Like, the world is changing at a rapid pace. It's easy to look at things around you and be like, this is kind of stressful. You know what I mean? Especially working in sports. Like, dude, you picked a weird route. I'm going to tell you right now, like, your engineering family members are going to be like, that's, you know, like, you chose an unconventional route, and it might take a minute. But I understand being positive and looking around you and being like, yeah, you know what? Like, the world's not, you know, the world's not all that bad. But to the people who are like, there are no issues with the way that this thing is structured in the United States, and there are no issues with the amount of money that it costs, and there are no issues with players being left off the table, and there are no issues with affordability and accessibility for the players who want to play this game, right? Look at any of the other sports in the United States and the players who are doing this at the highest level. Many of them did not come from backgrounds that immediately supported them spending an exorbitant amount of money. Now, if your parents sacrificed to put you on a team and do what they did, your parents, Ryan, my parents, with what they did and allowing me to play sports and everything I did, I am extremely fortunate that I had that opportunity. But if you don't think there's a problem in terms of getting more kids more opportunities to realize the talent that they have, and that the people who own these clubs and run these places aren't just, in a lot of ways, preying on the parents that they know can afford what they need to pay for in order to make sure their business is striving. I know that they're business owners. I said yesterday that this is something they need to do in order to be good business-wise. But if you don't think that there's a problem in all that, shut the hell up. Save your opinion to your damn self. I'm sick. And I saw someone else comment this on another video the other day, like, 3-time pay-for-play World Cup champs, referring to the women's side. Guys, we can admit the women got a little bit of a head start, okay? We can sit back and be real and say the women got
at sports
a
because
little
we
bit
gave
of a
them
head
the
start.
opportunity
Yeah.
before all the other countries.
Exactly. We paid for the resources. We paid for the coaching. We paid for the weight rooms. Like, great. I love it. I'm not saying I don't love it, okay? But
I like
the
winning.
world... when I said yesterday that I could have 5 kids and have all of them play an entire year of soccer, I could also have healthcare and other things. We don't have to dive into that, but like to you blue bloods who are like, there's no problem with the way we're doing things, crawl back into your hole and please don't come out of it. Okay? Thank you. I don't know if you have any more comments you want to read off. I was just sorry.
No, I thought you were reading all the comments, but yeah, no, that escalated quickly. That's not where I thought this thing was gonna go. Hey, if you want affordable prices, just head over to Aldi's. That's where.
Yeah, hell
that's
yeah.
Or
Sam's
anyone
Club.
Out there, you need affordable prices.
Yeah, Sam's
Aldi's.
Club.
Or sign up for a Speedway membership card because I get like 30 cents off gas once a month just for existing. So,
dude, I'm not kidding. Sam's Club, like the freaking the size of the stuff they have there, and for the price too, it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
like,
we go to BJ's Wholesale because it's close. So
that's fair.
That's
where
we
fair.
go.
Yeah,
I literally got my glasses fixed for free the other day from their optical place. But no, it's the whole pay for play thing. There's a couple points you mentioned there. I just like being happy. I realize that there's a lot of good in my life that not a lot of people have. So, and also some of the experiences that I had at a younger age in terms of my church mission stuff, and I won't get into that, but things that I saw in poor communities made me feel a lot more grateful about myself. Mom, Dad, if you're listening, I still gave you attitude. I'm still a moody teenager at times. So yeah, no, for sure. But and then you work jobs that you don't necessarily want to do, but you need to do it. And not that I hated the people I worked with or anything. I loved the people I worked with, but the work I did isn't what I wanted to do. So any day I get to hop on the mic with you or anyone else, like it's blessed, and I love every second of it. But I just say for the women's, dude, we got such a massive head start on everyone. Like the reason our women athletes are the best in the world is because we gave them access to do all these things before anyone else did. Maybe not everyone else, but like we didn't. The other countries probably didn't take anything seriously. They're probably like, well, we can have a women's national soccer team here in Argentina. We won't provide you anything. We'll give you some jerseys, maybe a place to train, but like there ain't nothing else we're gonna do. But you can just do that, I guess. Maybe some rec leagues there, but like no, it's and the whole pay for play thing, it being expensive. I think it also depends on the fit because there are good club owners out there. I was fortunate to be a part of a club with a good club owner for.
Right. And
for 10 years.
I want to make sure we get this out there. Like Detroit Metro is great. Like I love those people. We talked to those guys over there. They've been doing really good work. Like there's clubs around that are good and do provide affordable options. Okay. I don't want to like bury everybody here. All I'm saying is that some people are a little pigeonholed, their hands are tied because of where they're from.
And I was fortunate to play with a good AAU program as well. Down in Roseville. So I've been very fortunate in terms of the places I played travel sports at, but that every good owner there's a shitty owner. And for the parent out there or for the player out there, you just got to find a way to, okay, what is this owner, what is this coach really trying to get out of this? And you'll figure that out within a couple meetings, maybe a month or two into the season. You'll figure out whether or not that's the right fit or not, because you can't, a 2-day trial, it's not going to do anything. It's not going to tell the real story about anything. So just find your right fit because you will find out the real intentions of a club owner or whatever it is, whatever sport, real quickly.
That's true. Let me finish things off on a cooler head. I got one more comment to read off. This was actually a good one. From Fudd Nuggin on cool TikTok with the British flag, the UK flag next to it. He goes, top 3 sport for fans in the U.S., bottom rung for media savviness in the United States. Yes, 100%. It would perhaps be beneficial to bring on foreign presenters for American pundits / ex-players. Who does the media for the women's games in the U.S.? Maybe get them if they're
JP
better.
Camera.
That's what I'm saying. And so I was like, I do like foreign presenters. I think that's something that ESPN could 100% do. And then in my other comment, I said this is why numbers are deceiving in my opinion, which again, this is why like when it comes to sales, like you can use numbers to tell any story you want them to tell. Honestly, if you just twist them enough, you can get them to, but do a bunch of kids play? Yes, absolutely. Does it make it a top 3 culturally relevant sport? Hell no. I would even argue, just for Americans, like with the Masters coming up, I would argue golf in certain times of the year is more relevant than soccer is in the U.S., right? The women's team had a jump on the rest of the world. We also just invested more in women's sports, which is what we've talked about. But I see the point he's trying to get at with the foreign presenters. But yeah, that's absolutely something that we need. Like, we need the big dogs in sports media to be like, listen, I don't understand anything that there is to know, like, to understand about the sport. Why can't ESPN get one guy in there that is like knowledgeable and then just do like one segment or something to where it's just in front of people? If it's that popular, then why aren't we doing that?
So it depends what you're looking for, because it depends if you're looking just to talk soccer. ESPN's done it for years. They have ESPN FC. They used to have the Premier League broadcasting rights. You can go to NBC and watch Premier League. You go to Paramount today and watch Carragher, Abdo, Micah, and Henri. Like, it depends what you're looking at. Then if you're looking for what's the structure of USA Soccer and all that fun stuff, well, they still do that. It's on ESPN. You just watch ESPN FC. Herc Gomez will talk about it all the time. Craig Burley will talk about it all the time. Shaka will talk about it. There's people that will talk about it. It just depends, how many people actually listen to it, because 9 times out of 10, a American will watch Colin Cowherd over ESPN FC. That's just the reality of USA sports and soccer culture here. Depends what you're looking for. If you are looking to just hear someone talk about the game of soccer, just talk about the pro leagues, that happens all the time. But I don't think we have a dedicated, like, massive media outlet like an ESPN or a 3-letter network. I guess NSN's a 3-letter network, right? PMG and National Soccer Network, that's 3 letters, right? So you can always check in on us. But there's not many places that will talk about the structure of USA Soccer. So I would say we do have good, and again, even ESPN brought all those people, all those foreign pundits for the Euros. So and Alexi Lalas is as good as there is as anyone in terms of explaining the game. I mean, you don't have to have you don't have to have a foreign.
That's what I like. Is that people are like, well, Lala still exists. I'm like, guys, at least Lawless is trying.
Yeah,
like, guys, there's a lot of people that aren't trying. Yeah, exactly.
And Landon Donovan is disliked as it is anyway, just the way he comes off. And Tim Howard's a good one too. But it just depends what you're looking pompous for. But it's mainly happened. But typically, no one really talks about the structure of USA Soccer.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting conversation, and I do think sometimes it's hard for, you talk about the ego of some of these guys. I mean, like, like Rich Eisen's been doing his job at his level for a long, long time. Now it's like, if you were to ask me tomorrow, or like, hey, a couple of days from now, you're going to interview someone on cricket, it's like, okay, like, I'm going to do my best to like try to be as confident as I can. But yeah, we need to be open. I would just say, as the American audience, to just learning more about this. Because it's interesting, because someone actually dropped another comment that said the issue is that a lot of the people that are in the media have never played or broadcasted the sport. I like that he worked broadcasting in there, because even as someone who didn't obviously know much but has been calling the game, I've learned a ton about, whether it be terminology, whether it be other things. And so I think that's a relevant topic as well. But hey, let's take a break. Let's tell you about Barcelona, and then when we come back from break, let's get into our all sports content here on
CHAMPS,
the National Soccer Network. It's time. Barca Academy, proud sponsor of the National Soccer Network, though, and the official academy of FC Barcelona in the United States, designed for boys and girls ages 6 to 18. Barca Academy camps follow and replicate the FC Barcelona game model. Same philosophy used by Barca's professional coaching staff. Right now, you can save $30 on registration by using promo code FCB30. Again, that is FCB30, or you can scan the QR code on your screen. Find a camp near you at fcbarcelona.us/camps.
In Barca camp, I sing my song grown on and off of the field. Don't miss the time to register.
Sign up now for Barca Camp.
Inside the Game rolls along here on this Tuesday. In our final show of this week, we're going to be off the remainder of the week. So just to all those people who have been following along or just recently jumping into the chat or watching our show, just go on TikTok. Yeah, we'll probably go live.
Just
at some point. So yeah, exactly. So we'll still have content. We'll still have content coming your way all week long. So check us out, National Soccer Network, as well as Sports Nation TV. But Ryan, it's the portion of the conversation, the reason why we have our show today, because we absolutely had to talk about everything that went down yesterday. And it was going to be one of two things, right? It was either going to be a horror movie that we have seen all too many times before, and it certainly felt that way through the first half. Screw that. No, it felt that way the entire way. Yeah, exactly. But it wasn't. It was the opposite of that. In 37 years later, Michigan national champions in men's basketball, first team since the turn of the century in 2000 when Michigan State got it done. And there's a sense of overwhelming relief. I feel like that kind of comes with it.
This is awesome. To see finally a football national championship and a basketball national championship, it's wonderful. It makes the friend group chats that I was in so much better now because they're all Michigan State fans. And we have basketball. At least we have basketball. Yeah. And my friend texted me, and he goes, ever since October 30th, 2021, it's been a downfall for Michigan State. Let me just read this real quick. So he goes, since then, Michigan Natties in both football and basketball, no winning seasons in football, no Final Four appearances. He mentioned the shooting because he was there. And then vacated wins, choked against Kansas State, which if they win that game, they're probably in Monday night and lose to UConn. But again, another Final Four national championship appearance. Yep. And then they choked against Purdue. Remember the K9? Like they choked against Purdue. And like it's just it's awesome. And as a person that basically growing up, Michigan basketball was the only good team that I saw for a split second there. Obviously, the Tigers had a run in there, but the Red Wings were old and not barely making the playoffs. Pistons were dog. Michigan football wasn't any good. I mean, you had the one Denard, Brady Hoke, Sugar Bowl year, but like they didn't beat anyone like significant. I mean, Ohio State obviously, but that was right after the scandal and everything. But Michigan basketball was like my probably. I don't want to say probably is my first true love of sports teams. Yeah. Because Trey Burke, Hardaway, even Zach Novak, Stu Douglas, Jordan Morgan, Spike Albrick, Karis LeVert, Tim Hardaway I mentioned already, Nick Stauskas, McGarry, like Glenn Robinson III. All those guys is what made me fall in love with like sports. Those guys right there. Trey Burke was my dude. Like that guy was a stud. And to finally see it get done in basketball after seeing 2013, seeing 2018, even 2014, losing to Aaron Harrison in the Elite Eight on that Kentucky shot, and then playing like complete and utter dog shit against UCLA in 2021 with the Franz Wagner team, and Isaiah Livers gets hurt, and then this year, even the 8-24 year, obviously, Juwan Howard slapping people. We got dudes suspended for away games because they didn't do homework, and we got Hunter Dickinson pulling up with a ski mask. And it was just an overall shit show. And then all of a sudden, a guy who I didn't even want to be the head coach, who was supposed to go to Ohio State, which still makes it so much better. He was supposed to go to Ohio State, not Diebler. And to see this short man from Indiana with a raspy voice from FAU, who I watched at the bar, make a Final Four, to show up in year one, and I told my dad, I go, look, I think Michigan's going to be good. I don't expect them to make a Final Four, but you know what? I think they might win maybe a game. Maybe they'll make the Sweet 16. They make the Sweet 16, and then they hang a banner in the tournament. And I'm like, okay, it's a good start. It's a good start. Like, after what we saw last year, like, okay. And after the football season we endured, okay. Okay, Dusty, relax.
Yep.
And then we get to this year, and what I saw in the portal, I told my dad, I go, I think this is a Final Four team. I think it's a Final Four team. They'll win a big time. I never once said national championship. Never did because I know my history. I'm not dumb. I'm not that dumb. I'm dumb, but I'm not that dumb.
Yep.
And the way they did it all year, I was so excited to watch them every single time. Just straight BTA on everyone, outside of 3 games.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple other ones, close games. But they dominated every single one, and they played horrible yesterday. Nate, they made 3 jump shots yesterday. They made 3 jump shots. It was free throws, which, by the way, I respect Shai Gilgeous-Alexander now. I respect Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I think he's a wonderful basketball player. I think the way he plays is wonderful. I'm just saying, I'm a big fan of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander now. I'm just kidding. But they played horrible. They knocked down 3 jump shots. They get it done. Able to watch it with my dad yesterday. It was wonderful. And now I have bragging rights over Michigan State fans for like eternity at this point because Sweet 16 Tommy ain't making any runs. So, yeah. We'll get into other questions about this after, but I think it's right that we get to like have our feel-good story
our moment
out there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I first off, I mean, credit where it's due. I have so much. I know I've said this on the show already. I really do have a lot of respect for Dan Hurley. And if you ever wonder just how important a coach is in the sport of basketball, I think if you go, guy for guy across the line, we made jokes about how that Michigan team really could compete with the Wizards. If they were to really have a good night and the Wizards were to really have an off night, I do genuinely think that Michigan team could go out and maybe lose by like 10. I could certainly see that. But good coaches find a way to put their players in the best position possible. And when it comes to Dan Hurley and UConn, they just find a way to win. And it's just because not only is the guy passionate and energetic, I just think he's a savant. And to the old heads out there who are like, I don't like him. You can't praise Bobby Knight and then turn around and bash on Dan Hurley. Listen, either you want it this way
Bobby
or you
Knight
don't.
As Michigan fans,
and
shout out Dusty Mason, new manager.
Yeah, exactly. So, exactly. So, the lessons that have been learned from the way that he conducted himself, again, you can't praise Izzo and praise Bobby Knight and then rip down on Dan Hurley. All the respect in the world of what UConn did yesterday. Listen, they came into the game and it was very clear their strategy was, hey, we're going to make this a Big East game. We're going to make this a track meet. Physically, we're going to be swarming. We are just going to beat the ever-living hell out of Michigan, and we're going to rebound for our lives, and hopefully that will put us just in a position to where, like I told you, Ryan, Michigan's going to get theirs. You just want it to be close late so you can have a chance. But when I watched the way that UConn played yesterday, it made all the sense in the world why they were able to come back and beat Duke. And yes, they are the better program. Okay, let's retire this whole they're not the better program. Just because you have the more talented players doesn't make you the better program. So all respect in the world of UConn and the way that they fought yesterday. However, 37 years, and it just feels like the Fab Five can finally rest easy. That group of players who was regarded as the best group to ever come through Michigan. Now we can obviously have a separate conversation about where this team compares, because I would say they're better than what the Fab Five was, because the Fab Five couldn't get it done. And obviously Duke back then with Christian Laettner was a different level, but they can finally rest easy, because you get the Fab Five, and
they're not dead, by the way.
It was either them or Duke, right. But like, we can finally put the pain of that moment away. But I know what you're saying, but we can finally put the pain of that moment away. Beeline, in making it twice in 2013 and in 2018. I mean, you talk about a program builder. Michigan found that in John Beeline, and really, when he took over after Tommy Amaker and everything that happened with the program during that stretch, he started us on this trajectory upwards that we've kind of been building on ever since. And I know Jawan was there in that 1 year, but 2013 flames out. 2018 Dante and Villanova, and then it was a long history, much like Michigan State. I think we both kind of shared in this, of just a lot of almost seasons. And in my lifetime leading up to 2023, the knock on Michigan was that really since the turn of the century, we just hadn't done much. No championship in football, no championship in basketball, no championship in hockey.
We get there.
And it was we get there and we were always competitive, but it was always a lifetime of just almosts of you just get to that game and then you flame out, and getting to watch my dad, I think yesterday was probably the most rewarding part of it, and it was when we won it in 23 in football, and it was yesterday as well. And, I think my biggest takeaway from this is that obviously number one, I'm very happy as a Michigan fan. My victory laps were yesterday. It's crazy how short-lived it is. You enjoy it in the moment. Like you feel like you spend an entire lifetime, 37 years waiting for this moment. Now it's like, yeah, I'll enjoy it for a little bit, but it kind of has a sense of this team is going to be completely new come next year. But what I will say is that Dusty May deserves a lot more respect for what he does as a head coach. And yes, is roster construction the most important thing now in college athletics? Yes, and I'll get to that here in a second. But just because you go into the portal and get players, just because you construct your roster with a group of men that are a little bit more experienced and have a little bit more seasoning, and you are not building your program the way that it is conventionally built, the way like an Izzo and a Michigan State or whatever it is, just because you're not doing that doesn't mean you can't be an elite coach or don't have to be an elite coach in order to win at a high level. Dusty May is absolutely elite. And I think that in a lot of ways, it is a crime that he wasn't the coach of the year in college basketball. I truly and honestly think that, because it really doesn't matter. Okay, you have a few more, you can put, get some really good players. And yes, they were all transfers, but you don't just roll them out there and they win. You still have to be able to put things together. You still have to be able to navigate your way around a team that, again, defensively yesterday, UConn was good. They followed a lot because they wanted to, but you still have to be elite in order to get that much out of that team. And that's exactly what Dusty May is. And you cannot praise Curt Cignetti on one hand and then bash Dusty May on the other hand. That's not how this works. Okay, I like Curt Cignetti realized one thing, and it's the same thing we've talked about on this show this whole time. Promise versus productivity, right? Cole Pete. Freshman. There's so much potential with this kid. Has he ever been under the bright lights in March? No.
Been under the bright lights of God. It's a priest now.
Yeah, apparently. Yeah, exactly. Promise versus productivity. Cignetti took advantage of the systems that were in place, and he went out and constructed a roster of experienced players and put them in places where he knew he could win with them. What did Dusty May do? The same exact thing. This is where college athletics is now. I'm sorry, bought versus developed is retired. That's over.
That's a Michigan State argument. Anymore. That's all that is.
That is, and it's amazing because you had the same amount of transfers. You did spend money on NIL. Everybody is spending money on NIL, right? So, wait, this is the way it is now. So is it fair? Is it just to look at Michigan and go, well, it doesn't count. Obviously, you guys bought this national championship. I got a question. When are you guys just going to give it up? When are you just going to give it up? It's honestly, it's getting to a point now to where it's sad. It's okay to stay in your lane and admit where you are in the state. It's okay to admit that you're not the standard. You are not at the same level that the University of Michigan is. And let's not just talk about team sports. We can talk about the other sports with the Olympians and everything else going on. You're just not. So just give it up. It's okay. I promise. Because I promise that Ryan and I, outside of obviously me right now, because we're on the podcast, I feel like it's worthy of mentioning it. We ain't talking about y'all. So this whole thing about, Dusty just bought, he just bought all of his guys. Everybody is participating in NIL now. If you want to blame anybody, blame the organization that actually you wanted to kiss the ass of for what, an entire year because you wanted them to punish Michigan, and now you're like, whoa, Michigan just buys all their players. It's the same organization that made it legal. Talk to them. Don't talk to us. Don't talk to the Michigan fans. Don't talk don't talk about Dusty May and how he just buys his players and he's not actually a good coach. He's just a merchant. Listen, y'all. It's the way of things now. And so very relieved, very happy, but you know how the dialogue is going to go around this program now. You just.
So there's a couple things that we each got our feel-good story out there. Now let's get into the question that everyone wants to know. I think there's a couple questions. A, Michigan is taking over Michigan State in terms of college basketball because it's, again, and let's not say Michigan's a blue blood in basketball. That's not the conversation because Michigan State's not a blue blood in basketball. It's not. We both don't think Michigan's a blue blood in basketball. If they were to be a blue blood, they got to win 2 more championships in the next 9 years because the definition of a dynasty is 3 titles in 10 years. That's a dynasty. Mm-hmm. But Michigan's not a blue blood. Yeah, they've won a national championship. It took them like 40 years to get there, but they got one. But that's a question we can discuss: is have they overtaken Michigan State? And number 2, is this the best college basketball team of all time, or at a minimum, the best Big Ten basketball team at all time?
Yeah. I think there is, so you said that they were, let's talk about the Michigan State thing first. Yes. I mean, just straight up, yes.
I still have my notes from last week. So, again, we'll review them. First rounder. Again, I did this since 2010. I was like, you know what? Let's give Michigan State another Final Four in there. I don't want to be like, well, we just started in 2013 when we were relevant. I'll give you 3 shitty years. Then we'll have the 8 and 24-year team in there as well. So, suck it. So, since 2010, Michigan first-round picks, 13, MSU 6. Active NBA players, Michigan 14, Michigan State 7. It's only going to go higher for Michigan after this year. Final Fours now each at 3. Regular season titles, MSU 6, Michigan 4. Juwan Howard somehow has one of them. Tournament championships, MSU 4, Michigan 3. Sweet 16s, Michigan 9, MSU 8. And then the big one, national champions, 1, MSU 0. I think Michigan has passed MSU in basketball. It has. And until Tom Izzo wants to adapt to the new college basketball landscape, Michigan's going to continue to ascend, and MSU is just going to kind of stagnate and plateau because, again, Tom Izzo's an unbelievable coach, so it's not like they're going to go into the abyss. No, they're still going to be a competitive team in the top 10 every year, top 15 every single year. They're going to get good recruits, and they're going to make the second weekend. But the point of MSU is, and I don't understand what this MSU standard is, well, let's just make the Final Four. Let's just win a Big Ten title. No, the game is not to just make a Final Four. It's to win the whole damn thing. And you have not done that since 2026, yet you walk around here and parade yourself, oh, we won a national championship in 2000, and we got Mr. March. Newsflash, Dan Hurley's Mr. March now. He's been to 3 Final Fours in 4 years, and he's won 2 natties. We're going to coin Izzo Mr. March after making 3 Final Fours, and he won 1. Yeah. Dan Hurley's it. You haven't made the national championship. You haven't made the Final Fours in 2019. And the last couple Final Fours before that weren't even close. So Michigan is overtaken MSU, and I think MSU is realizing that now, especially their fan base, which they all said, like, they're done with college athletics just because of what they watched. But let's not act like MSU didn't use the NIL in the portal. They spent $8.5 million on their roster. Michigan spent $10.5, and then the portal they each got 4. And this whole Yaxel Lenneborg's 23, shouldn't be in school, yada yada. Trey Fort's 24 years old. What are we gonna do about that then? Trey Fort's 24. You put a 24-year-old on your roster and he wasn't that good as our 24-year-old, 23-year-old, whatever. So Izzo has got some soul searching to do. Maybe change the offense a little bit. Maybe, I don't know, recruit 3-point shooters. You don't ever have 3-point shooters. Recruit them. And the fact that this guy still thinks that we shouldn't have a proper center down low for Michigan State still blows my mind because Michigan's the Big Ten's most physical league. You got Zach Edey of all people. You had Frank the Tank back in the day. Jared Sullinger back in the day. You got Yaxel, Mara,
the big is coming back.
All the Balkans.
Yeah, the big is coming back.
So, and the fact that he doesn't want to recruit that anymore, you're just going to get left behind, man. And you wonder, is MSU better off without Tom Izzo?
If he drops the ego, he will be right back in the mix. But if Tom Izzo, and I understand he's a Hall of Famer, I get it. But if he doesn't drop his ego, and if he continues to do things the way that he wants to do them and defy everything that's going on in college athletics and yell at those clouds the way he does in those post-game interviews, and believe you me, I think he's starting to slip a little bit. Y'all can say what you want to say. Y'all can act like, y'all can say what you want to say. My man's over 70 years. My man's over 70 years old, and he's always got something to complain about. He's starting to slip a little bit. Either Izzo gives up the ego, or the basketball world leaves you behind. Those are your choices. And I'm done pretending like there's any other reality. That's what it is. You're always going to be good. You're going to be in the fight. You're going to be in the conversation. I would never say they're going to be better without Izzo. How the hell are you going to replace a Hall of Famer? But he has to be willing to put his ego aside and buy into what the new college experience and the way that the landscape is now. Why do you think Saban stepped aside? Saban he didn't want to do it, man. The playing field was leveled. No longer do you have the SEC and these car dealerships rolling out Hellcats for the recruits so that they can get the best guys in the country to come play for Alabama. That's not how it works anymore. And so you see all of these OGs retiring. Izzo wants to continue chasing a national championship, and I don't blame him.
Another one that's gone.
I don't blame him at all. But either Izzo gives up the ego and starts to maybe request more funding from Michigan State, especially with all the big donors.
Dropped off $500 million for him in the football program.
That's what I'm saying. I was just about to say donations.
Doesn't want to.
That's what I'm saying.
He wants to spend.
Yeah.
Again, his approach to NIL is what Jim Harbaugh's NIL approach was, which was spend it on the guys that have done something for us. And there's nothing wrong with that. But after so many years of it just stagnating, you've got to do something. You've got to go out and get a splash. What did Michigan do? They went out and got Yaxel Lindenberg was their big splash. That's what they spent. Because the money that they were going to try to keep Danny Wolf with went to Yaxel. Because we all know they were trying to keep Danny Wolf for $2 million. And Danny Wolf's like, I'm going to go waste my career in Brooklyn. So they were like, okay, let's look for another big that can maybe handle the ball. Which, by the way, I'd rather have Yaxel than Danny Wolf anyway, because Danny Wolf either does some insane Jason Williams type pass where it's like, damn, or he's sending that ball 20 rows into the stands. Like it's one or the other. But Yaxel was more consistent and he's more athletic. But no, he's got to go out and get a big splash portal guy. Yes, you can get the recruits all you want, and that's fine. But there's only been two times in college basketball history where freshman teams have won it all. That being 2015 Duke and Anthony Davis's Kentucky. Sorry, I blanked on that. But that Michigan team, man, they were so dominant this year. And I never said my thing about the bought developed. Look, it's a Michigan State argument. The whole bought versus developed. Look, there's two 8 and 24 kids, i.e. Cheddar and Burnett. You had a kid who wanted to be kicked out, or the fans hated Cadeau, wanted him out of North Carolina, and everyone left him wide open for three, yet all of a sudden he's the most valuable player of the Final Four. Weird. Mara, who was put at the end of the bench, did nothing. Mraz Johnson rode the bench, did nothing for Illinois. Yaxel Lindenberg, who was actually a different basketball player before he got to Michigan. He was straight back to the He was a back-to-the-basket guy. He wasn't this whole thing now. That was developed. Weird how that all happens. Then you had a true freshman, and then you had a 3-star recruit sophomore who wasn't all that special his freshman year, and then who became the best backup point guard in the nation, and then you had Roddy Gale. That's what you had. These aren't 5-star recruits. They're developed guys. Their game changed.
Yeah, Yaxel Lendenborg played at a JUCO at Arizona Western from 2020 to 2023. I mean, it's 3 years at a junior college, and then he just finds it at the end of his career. Yeah, these guys weren't necessarily like prime top-end prospects. They were just guys that fit together because Dusty May understood what he needed. He understood the different the prototype and the types of players that he needed to go out and win, and he got them, and he went out and won.
And like
simple as that.
You could say technically Cadeau and Amari Burnett were high-rated recruits, but they were high-rated recruits at their first places. They were 5 stars at North Carolina and Texas Tech or Alabama. I forget where. I know Burnett was at both, but I didn't know where he went up. He went first. But this is what happens. It's the same thing with Cignetti, as you mentioned. Mendoza was a good quarterback at Cal, but no one knew who he was. Like, he was, I should say he was like this amazing quarterback, but he was an okay quarterback. He shows up to Indiana, does well. Again, I still don't think that Indiana team was like the greatest team ever, like this Michigan basketball team is. But it's just a lot of, again, the whole misfit toys and everything. Like, it's what you have to do. You identify the talent that you want. You go get it. Look, you can get a high recruit freshman. Dusty's doing that. But he also mixes it in with transfer portal guys. Like, you've got to do a little dabble in both. And the difference maker in the game yesterday was a true freshman and a couple of portal guys. That was the difference. Trey McKinney, D'ing up, knocking down shots. Cadeau, just a dog. I respect Shea Gilgis. Oh boy. We lost Nate there for a second. So that wasn't good. But yeah, no, that's just what happened. And Michigan is a program that is going to continue to build on this because they're on the, I don't want to say they're on the brink of a dynasty, but they definitely have the potential of having a dynasty. If you're telling me Dusty May could do that in 2 years with a roster like that, then I mean, he's got the potential of a dynasty. Nate, you all right, my man?
It's true, dude. I think Xfinity is doing us dirty right now. I'm not sure what the hell is going on, but no. Let me say this: national championships change the entire dynamic of a program. Once you win a national championship, now you are a part of a different group, right? And it's funny because when you looked at Michigan's Final Fours, I'm pretty sure we have the best in the sample size and the amount of Final Fours that we've played. I think we have the best record of any team in the country in terms of we won, like, I think 8 out of our 9 trips to the Final Four or something like that.
In Final Four games, yeah.
4 games. So long history of doing that. But when you win a championship, that puts you into a different category. Now, it's going to be a lot like, I don't know if, obviously 30 years, we can't predict what the next 30 years is going to look like, but look at what it did for Michigan State. I mean, it launched MSU into a different echelon of college basketball by winning that one in 2000, and obviously what Izzo has done ever since. So one national championship can completely change the dynamic and the trajectory of what that program is going to be moving forward. So no, absolutely, you can't say dynasty right now. There's no way in which you can call this Michigan team a dynasty. However, yes, there is 1,000% the potential, but the only question is, again, can Dusty May continue to build rosters that are going to go out and win championships? Because right, that this team is going to look completely different come a year from now than what it looked this season. And that's just how it is. That's how this game is. But obviously now, and we can talk about this on the show, because I think this component of the college experience now with having 5 years of eligibility and not 4 years of eligibility, when do we start actually seeing contracts like 2-3 year contracts, 4-year contracts, even a 5-year contract? When do we start seeing those things? Because I feel like, especially now with 5 years, 4 years is a little bit different. 4 years felt a little bit quicker. Now you have 5. When do we see, Mara signed for 2 years or signed for 3 years or whatever it is? Because I imagine coaches are going to start demanding that with the extra year of eligibility. Because if you give some of these players a chance, they're going to go to 7 schools in 5 years if they get the opportunity to. So
it's happened pretty much.
Yeah. So the biggest question is, can Dusty May continue to be a manager and a roster builder a general manager just as much as he is a great head coach. Because if he is, then yeah, I would. I mean, I think that he's got at least a couple of national championships in him.
Donovan Hiromate, I hope I said that right. Said Real Madrid is today's game. Oh, I probably said PSG Liverpool play today, and they play tomorrow. My bad, Donovan. My bad on the whole Real Madrid thing. They do play today. I just looked it up. My bad. Let me know if you think they beat Bayern Munich. I think they'll win the leg. I don't think they'll win to. No, I think they win today. I don't think they win the leg. That's what I was trying to say.
Nice.
Anyway, there's definitely potential for Dusty May to win it all, or to be a dynasty, I should say. There's potential based just on the true freshman recruits that he seems to be coming in. He's got number 2 class coming in, and the portal is his bread and butter. And for all the people that were like pissed off about, they're all transfers. What did you expect this guy to do with an 8-24 roster? Should you a company who already sucks that you're overtaking? Do you keep all the bad people around because the company clearly isn't functioning with them, or 2, do you go get the company and go bring in outside people to improve the company? Clearly, we just keep them all and keep being bad. No, any coach in their right mind would get rid of damn near every single player. Dusty May probably sat down and was like, okay, you're trash. Get out of here. You're buns. You're gone. And he went to Nemari Burnett and Will Cheddar and was like, Nemari, I like the way you shoot threes. We'll keep you. Cheddar, I like your determination and defense and grit. We'll keep you. Outside of that, hey, gone. Like, that's what was going. That's what was happening. I don't know what these people expect. Like, do you expect to keep just all these shitty players around? No, you don't. You just is you've got to clean house. And it's
a great analogy. Yeah.
Kyle Whittingham, I think, kind of did it with, like, he kind of went in there and was like, wow, these guys suck. With the coaching
there's
staff.
elements of that Michigan football team that definitely deserve to stick around.
Staff.
Yeah, exactly.
Not all, because I think there's a lot of potential with the players. Sharon Moore is just a big dummy. But
I still think Wink was good, man. I didn't not like Wink.
I just get him out of here. I hate his chains too. Man. I hate his look, dude. He just pisses me off. But Whittingham probably went to the staff and was like, holy crap, you are ass. Like, this is what we're running? I'm bringing my boys and some of the BYU guys with me. I'll keep you, Tony Alford, because you're good with running backs, and we want Savion Hyder really bad. So, but no, that's, like, Dusty May is, I mean, he's, 49? So he's still got a long way. The only thing that concerns me about this guy, does the NBA ever come calling? Because it's a young guy. I'm not saying it's a full.
Yeah, you got a point.
It's not a full, and it's not like an NBA type of team. I guess I should say. Like the players could be are NBA players, but it doesn't. The way the game looks, it doesn't look like an NBA team, and we've seen college coaches try to go over the. NBA,
Michigan doesn't look like an NBA team.
What?
Wait, who doesn't look like an NBA team?
The offense for Michigan does not look like an NBA offense where it's just run and gun threes and drop back and defense. The way Michigan plays offense is way different.
Shooting and
the offense is way different than just what I see on every NBA night where it's just chuck up threes.
High screening and lobs at the rims. I don't know. That seems very NBA-esque to me, but I agree to disagree.
The different actions all the time, just running down the court, and we're just going to check up a 3 in the first 3 seconds of a shot clock? No, it's not an NBA offense. It could maybe work, but
they run slower. Yeah, they do. Right, they do like their half court sets. That's for sure. Michigan.
No one does that in the NBA. No one does that. The NBA is stupid. It's a dumb league.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. That's the only issue. Is does the NBA ever come calling on Dusty May? That's the real question.
I tend to think that there are certain things that they do that I think you only see in the NBA. I think with their size, I think with their shooting, I think with their high screen and rolling action, it kind of reminds you a little bit of what you see in those games. And it's the reason why some of these teams just couldn't keep up. They were just too big and they were too good at playing vertically. And that's what the game is now. It's a vertical game. It's a tall man's game. And that's why the big is coming back in basketball, and I love to see it, whether it be Zach Edey, whether it be Victor
Zach Edey
Wembanyama.
sucked. Zach Edey did nothing besides throw elbows into the chest and face of every single player.
He's good with the Grizz. So, I mean, people said he was going to work at McDonald's, and yet he's been great with the Grizzlies. So I don't really,
Grizzlies
I mean,
good.
anyways, but yeah,
I could be good on the Grizzlies. I could be good on the Wizards.
I think Mara. I think
LeBron
Mara
don't even want to go to
the
Memphis.
I think Mara will be outstanding in the NBA once they put a little bit more size on him, obviously. But I do think the big is coming back. Now, will it be like the Oscar Robinson days of the bit? No, it won't be. I don't think we're ever going back there, but it's certainly coming back a little bit. Anyways, getting away from that, the thing that concerns me is you're right. Number one, the age of Dusty May. Like, this is the perfect time to go out and get, someone like him, because you don't want to get, in my opinion, you don't want to get like a Beeline once upon a time. Izzo, I understand the connections, and Ishbia and the Suns. I would never, ever, ever see Izzo getting along with an NBA locker room ever once in my life, ever. No, never, ever in my life, ever. He's better with developing the kids and the men. All right. That's what he does. Dusty May, with how charismatic he is, with how much of a player's coach he is. He's great at balancing personalities, which is, I think he's done that wonderfully this year, despite having a room full of massive personalities. Axel Lendenborg, obviously, being the biggest example of it. But I think in that way, he's not as much of a tyrant as some of these old school coaches, which makes him very attractive to the NBA, because if all your players like you, they don't feel that way. You know that you can put him in a room of NBA players and he's not going to talk down on him, and he's not going to lose the locker room. He's not a guy who's going to lose the locker room, and he can command a room. And obviously he knows a little bit of ball too, but I think the other thing about Dusty May is he's good in those rooms that we don't see, in the negotiation rooms. In the rooms where it's like, here's the money, here's what we need from you, here's what your role is going to be on this team, putting a team together. I think in the draft room, Dusty May could be someone that could be really effective in the National Basketball Association, and that's what makes it concerning to me about whether or not the NBA could be an option. I understand he's happy at Michigan, but if we're talking about someone who can put a roster together that's going to go out and win championships, yeah, I'm certain he could do that in the NBA as well. Do we want that? Absolutely not. No. But I feel like this is the perfect time for the NBA, anybody in the National Basketball Association, if they're looking for a coach. I mean, Dusty May is up there. I mean, maybe John Shire, I think, would be another good option. There's other young coaches who I think could be
John Shire's all that.
could be in the league. But anyways,
I just searched
Dusty would be an option for sure.
I just searched up a couple names. What age did Brad Stevens leave for the Celtics? Again, that's a little different situation. That's Butler. That's a little different.
Yeah.
He was 36 when he left for the Celtics. And then Billy Donovan from Florida was 50 years old. So there's obviously Dusty May is 49. So he'll be 50 next year at some point, or maybe this year. I don't know. But I think Dusty is he'll be back next year. He won't. I don't think he'd do any NBA job this year. I don't think so. At least. Yeah. But I mean, we've seen Calipari flame out in the NBA. We've seen Patino flame out in the NBA. I mean, Brad Stevens was okay for a little bit, and then eventually they were like, "We got to get rid of you. Go to the front office. We want." Was it Aduka first, or Aduka first, and then it went Mazzulla? Because Aduke had like a Aduke. I don't remember his name, but he had like some weird background that got brought up, and he got fired for that. And then they got Mazzulla, which I didn't realize Mazzulla was a baller back in the day. I didn't know that. I think he was like Wichita State or something.
Yeah.
VCU.
Yeah.
1 and 2.
Yeah.
But no, it's that's the only thing. Is I just don't want the NBA to come calling, because we know what happened with Beeline. And when the NBA comes calling, you're behind the 8 ball if your coach leaves. Because I would rather be like, all right, Dusty, after just don't make the tournament, we can fire you, go to the NBA, and then we can go get our coach in a proper cycle and get a proper recruiting class in and a proper transfer portal class in. So,
Yep, exactly. No, I mean, that's you make a lot of good points there. Yeah, Dusty's on the verge of 50, so I mean, I guess he's getting up there technically, but says he's happy at Michigan, and I believe it, especially after winning a championship.
He said he doesn't want to move either. So he said his family's been following around too much, and he's like, I don't want to make a move again.
Yeah, that's fair. Let's get into question of the day.
Question of the day brought to you by, actually, we didn't even say this one.
Actually, yeah, you know what?
Nate, just talk.
You want me to do Man City? Yeah, I'll do Man City really quick, and then we can dive into that. I was just about to say that. They're a proud sponsor of the National Soccer Network, bringing world-class training inspired by Man City's global football philosophy to players across the United States. Open to boys and girls of all skill levels. These camps focus on technical development, decision-making, and playing the game the City way. Right now, you can save $30 on registration by using promo code MCNSN30. Again, that's MCNSN30, or scan the QR code on your screen. Find a camp near you, usacamps.mancity.com.
Not as fast as me. By the way, we did get word Patrick Agyemang will miss the World Cup. It was reported about a half hour ago. Patrick Agyemang will miss the World Cup. But anyway, Salt Athletic, an official sponsor of us here at the National Soccer Network. Use promo code NSN15 to save 15% off of that #1 smell-proof cleat bag that 100% works. It's like Dan Dickerson there when he goes to commercial. Scan the QR code on your screen or visit saltathletic.com today. Question of the day: what was more enjoyable, 2023 football or 2025 basketball national championships?
Yeah, it's tough to say one was more entertaining than the other. I would have to say football, man. I mean, just beating Bama, is just when you are having legitimate conversations about a college team could compete with an NFL team. My entire childhood growing up, the conversation, and it was wild to hear, but it was like, yeah, Bama could compete in the NFL. Like, we could put Bama in the National Football League. They could beat the Browns. They could beat the Lions, which is the most asinine comment that anyone has ever made in the history of ever. Like, put the 0-16 Lions against any college team, and they're probably beating them by 3 tutties, right? Like, it is a different level to that game than what the college game is. But that was the Bama reputation. Michigan played them to open the year. I mean, got violated. I wasn't even watching the game before halftime got there. Notre Dame played them in the national championship, got violated. Michigan State played them, got violated. 35-0. Everybody that played Bama learned the same damn lesson. Like, you get out of your conference, you have a good year, and then guess what? You got this team full of future NFL stars. Have fun. Go at it. Have fun. Right. And I know that Saban, like his last year, he didn't have the old signature Bama teams that we were used to seeing. That they weren't, that Bama anymore. But it's still Bama, man. And I mean, I didn't want to say I was nervous. I didn't want to admit it or show it to any of my other friends, but we were extremely nervous. And to come all the way down to the very end like that and almost choke it away. I mean, like the muff punt that was like saving it on the 1-inch line and everything that went into that final play. And then they just obviously they kicked the hell out of Washington. I'd have to say it's football, man. Also because Michigan basketball gets hyped, sure, but nothing has been more hyped up and then simultaneously disappointing in my life than Michigan football in several years. Like, it was just like Brady Hoke has this great recruiting class, and then he wins like 8 games. It's like, this is just my existence. So I would have to say football, but they were both obviously extremely entertaining for different reasons.
I think football was more enjoyable because of all the sidebars. You had Stallions cheated.
Oh,
Stallions
with the cheating
that,
stuff.
And then, like, dude, they went straight belt to ass on like every single team leading up to. I mean, you had Harbaugh suspended right as he got off the plane, and you got Sharon Moore running.
It was poetic justice.
Like 30 straight runs in Happy Valley, and then then you have Ohio State coming into town, and they thought they were going to win because we didn't have Stallions, and then Michigan still wins anyway. Beats Iowa which Cooper DeJean had like one of the craziest defensive plays I think ever in that game. And then obviously you beat Alabama, as you mentioned. Same thing with me. Like, this was the team to beat. They beat them, and then BTA on the #1 offense in the country. And I mean, the amount of guys on that Michigan football team, how good they were. Maybe not so great in the NFL like JJ McCarthy, but no, there were some studs all over the place. Corum, Colston Loveland, Mason Graham, Kenneth Grant. I think my favorite play was Kenneth Grant blowing up the offensive guard and then just sacking and not even sacking, just ripping Michael Penix down and throwing him to the ground. Like
that was like the
unreal.
second. That was like the second down play in that overtime, wasn't it? The one where he broke through. Yeah, I think I know what one you're talking about.
I'm talking about the national
against Alabama. Oh, national championship.
Said Michael
My
Penix.
bad. I thought you were talking about his play.
Jalen
You did
Milroe.
say
Yes,
Penix.
I do know which one you're talking about. I do remember the Mason Graham play, but the Kenneth Grant one in the national championship game where he blows up the Washington guard and then just drags and slams Michael Penix down. I'm probably gonna watch that right after the show gets in. But yeah, no, that was was fun.
Yeah. So no, I mean, more enjoyable. They were both extremely enjoyable. It's funny. I just saw a tweet from Adam Jackson that said John Beilein walks so Dusty May could run. It's definitely true.
Yeah, I forgot.
I know
to
you talked
that.
about
no,
him.
He's right.
Yeah, a little bit earlier you mentioned that, but yeah, 9 years before Beilein, Michigan is 145 and 135 with 0 turning appearances. I'm telling you, man, when I was young, they were bad. They were not good. The Tommy Amaker years were not good. Then obviously came Beilein. And what he did, 5 Sweet 16s, 2 Final Fours, 4 Big Ten titles. It really set the foundation for what Dusty May is. And it sucks that it had to take as long as it did, but we did it. And now we're here, and now we're national champs. And yeah, it is silence, pins and needles from the Michigan State community, which feels good. Feels good once in a while to have them not barking down your back. But anyways, that'll wrap up episode number 256. Or rather, 265, that is. Thank you to everybody who drops by. As always, I not have a live show, so we will not be live tomorrow, Thursday, or Friday. But you can catch us or myself or Ryan or both of us potentially on TikTok live. We will be going live here in the upcoming days, just hanging out, chatting with you guys. Nothing official, no show, just making sure we're keeping that alive. And then we'll be back the following Monday, but we still got a lot of stuff to cover, a lot of stuff to talk about, but everybody needs a break once in a while. So we just wanted to say we appreciate everybody who has helped us out, everybody who stopped in to watch a show, whatever you've done in whatever capacity. We appreciate you. And it's all one big happy family here on the National Soccer Network. We'll talk to you on Monday.
From the biggest matches to the hottest takes, Jonathan Turner and Nathan Wenger bring you the stories, the analysis, and the edge you won't get anywhere else. Streaming live weekdays at 9 a.m. on YouTube, Roku TV, Facebook, Twitter, and all major platforms. No filters, no fluff, just real talk, real soccer. This